We got tons of positive news and leaks about Black Myth Wukong, and what I'm seeing and hearing about the game, it definitely stands out as a game of the year for me. On Steam, Black Myth Wukong is on number one in wishlist, which is a very good news. It shows that players are very excited to play this game. Recently, many players got the chance to play Black Myth Wukong with a minimum 2 hours of playtime, in which only few part of the gameplay have been shown by them. We got to see some new bosses like a Black Bear Gua, the Elder Jinchi, Guangzi, a Splash Toad, which is a mini boss, and an elite enemy. All these bosses are coming from the level called Black Wind Mountain, which is the early level part of the game. It is also being said that this level will have total 11 bosses, including the main, side, and the hidden bosses. And by the leaks of Lunatic Ignus, it is being said that this game is going to have total 81 bosses plus 160 enemies, and recently his leaks are being quite accurate, so it can be true. And each boss and enemies will have their own types of attacking patterns. This will allow players to be feel more refreshing with the combat and the playstyle, and encourage players to learn their attack patterns of each enemy. So my theory is that if there is a 80 bosses total in game, and on first level Blackbeard Mountain there is 11, so we can definitely expect that there will be total 8 levels or 8 chapters in the game, and more than 9 bosses in each level. Moving on to the boss fight difficulty of Black Myth Wukong, it is being said that the game won't be difficult as Soulsborne or any Dark Soul game, but it definitely stand in between the Elden Ring and the Sekiro. And as per the leak, the Black Myth Wukong won't be having any difficulty options to tweak, which is very good to me that every player will face the enemy the same way as every other player. And now moving on to the next with the exploration and the combat of Black Myth Wukong. The game definitely looks like a pure soul genre type of game, but it doesn't play like a Dark Soul game. What I mean is that it has the core element of any Dark Soul type of game. Like it has a stamina bar which consumes stamina after attacking or dodging an attack, and there will be no minimap in the game or any kind of guidance will be provided to the player. You have to figure out everything by yourself. No more spoon feeding to the players like a baby. Can be very frustrating for some of them because who haven't played or experienced any type of soul game, they would have a very difficult time in Black Myth Wukong. Players can get lost very easily in this world because it is very highly tensed. The game also have some shrines or bonfires that player can use to teleport between across the maps. In terms of combat, Sun Wukong is a very agile character with incredible speed and power. This allows Wukong to perform the action very fast and quickly with his rapid quick dodges, which you will never see on any Soul game. Black Myth Wukong is a totally different type of Soul game you will ever play. It encourages players to be more aggressive and to perform quick combos rather than the more cautious and defensive combat rhythm of Souls-like games. It is also advisable to the players that you shouldn't play this game with a Souls-like style because it will be very difficult and challenging for you. The combat of Sun Wukong is very simple, like we having the light attacks, heavy attacks, and dodge to evade the attacks. We do not have block or parry system in this game. The only way to avoid attack is to dodge or correct the timing of perfect dodge. Unlike the other Soul game, the distance covered from dodges are quite longer, but we can only dodges 3 times in succession. It means that the fourth dodge will put Wukong in a stumble state. It won't be effective as last 3 dodges. And after performing a perfect dodge, those last 3 dodges in a row will be reset. That will allow us to dodge more efficiently in boss fights. Sun Wukong is going to have only one weapon, which is his magical staff, which have 3 stances. The default one is called Smash, which deals heavy damage to the enemies. The second one is called Pillars, in which the staff gets extended to take out enemies in range. Also, he can sit on the top of the staff, then extend it, make it way longer and longer. And the last is called Thrust, which will help us to block incoming projectiles like the arrows. All these stances can alter the moveset of Sun Wukong, and each stances have 3 tiers which can be refilled through landing a perfect attack or perfect dodging. And when it reaches up to tier 3, the staff damage increases vastly and the length of extending the staff also increases. Sun Wukong also has some magical spells, make a multiple clone of himself or freeze an enemy for a second, or his skin becomes of steel And in recently, we got to see a new magical spell in which he leaves a false trail of himself and become invisible to the enemies. These magical spells can also be upgraded to increase their efficiency. Sun Wukong also can be transformed into many shapes and objects, which we have already seen in the past gameplay trailers and showcase, but we haven't got to see any new transformation in the recent showcase. The progression of the Black Myth Wukong is a semi-linear. The game has a currency like the willpower of souls. You can collect enough to fill your XP bar to level up Sun Wukong, and you will be given a skill point to increase the stats of him. And if you died, you will lose half of the progress you gathered. Means you will lose XP, but you will not lose a skill point. It will be very similar like Sekiro. And as per the leaks, the game will have New Game Plus at launch, and it is going to have multiple endings, which will increase the replay value of the game. And we might have a public demo for Black Myth Wukong on July, which is not a guarantee that it will happen or not. The major chances is that it won't happen because Xbox version of Black Myth Wukong got delayed. Hence, GameSense has a lot of work to finish the Xbox version as soon as possible. So the chances of public demo is quite less. I would like to clear some doubt about this game. Some of them are saying it's a boss rush game, which is actually not true. The game is a semi open world linear type of game. The exploration is not big as any other Soul game. There are some sites to explore, finding a chest or finding a secret hidden bosses or a side quest which will reward some XP or gear for Sun Wukong. Yes, this game is highly focused on the boss fight. After a little bit of exploration, you will find yourself in a proper stage of a boss fight, but that doesn't mean that it will be a boss rush game. All the bosses and the enemies you will find in the Black Myth Wukong are very accurate to the Chinese lore, and it is inspired by the Chinese novel called Journey to the West. The leak says that you can finish the Black Myth Wukong within 40 hours of playtime. To finish the story campaign, it will be like 30 hours max, 10 hours for side activities. It also depends on the player how he plays it. If he finds difficult, it will be a lot longer to finish the game, and if it is easier for you, it will be a lot shorter. The timings of Black Myth Wukong also have been released, as it says that Black Myth Wukong will be launched simultaneously globally at 10 a.m. on August 2024 Beijing time. My final thought about this game is that the art design and the story plot looks absolutely top notch, and you all players shouldn't be worried it will reach up to your expectations. As I said before, the game definitely stand out as a game of the year. There is no denying in that. This is why I am very excited to play Black Myth Wukong on August 20. Alright, that's gonna do it for me today. Do let me know how are you feeling about the game. Are you super hyped for this game? I don't know about you, but I am for sure hyped for it. I'm really looking forward to this game. Okay, bye bye. I will see you in the next one. Sayonara.